In 2020, Deion Sanders shocked the NCAA world when he accepted the head coaching position at Jackson State University, one of the world's greatest historically black colleges and universities. And of course, Deion Sanders, being the prolific ex-NFL cornerback that he is, recruited many people to the university. And I'm talking about not just average players, 4- and 5-star players. And so much so that it has led Jackson State this year to an 11-0 season, the first of its kind. It's not even close in most games, and the talent that Jackson State has, they're just obliterating teams in the SWAC. But now there's an obstacle. Stop the show. That obstacle is now colleges are paying attention. Big time colleges like the University of Colorado. And knocking on the door of Deion Sanders is a $5 million a year opportunity. And he's expected to take this job, but he hasn't necessarily confirmed it right away. Or has he? Well, I want to kind of talk about something in the past. Rewind, Demo! So this kind of, situation with black Americans being talented and leaving for better opportunities has been the story of black America. And it all starts with our man, W.E.B. Du Bois. Now, who is W.E.B. Du Bois? W.E.B. Du Bois was one of our first intellectuals, very, very intelligent. And he had this particular book that he wrote, obviously, in a teaching called The Talented Tenth. Now, I'm going to have this young sister explain what this particular situation meant.
The Talented Tenth was an ideal that W.E.B. Du Bois came up with in regards to how we would advance as a race. So basically, Du Bois, along with some other black scholars and intellectuals, believe that it would take the intellectual 10% of our race to uplift the other 90% to advancement. So basically, he focused on doctors, lawyers, chemists, scientists, like intellectuals, even literary intellectuals, to uplift the race. So basically, his plan was once they make it, then they would provide opportunities for the other 90% to make it.
So as you can see, the Talented 10th were the black intellectual class. And she named off some of the professional degrees that are sometimes embodied in Du Bois' Talented 10th. Chemists, doctors, attorneys. Those are the group of people who are supposed to build for the other 90% of people. And Du Bois sort of had it right, but he left out a few groups of people. One, the entrepreneurial class, and two, the all-around talented class. Now, what do we mean? Deion Sanders is not an academic. Deion Sanders is an entertainer or ex-athlete. And I know that we don't like talking about people like that, right? But Deion Sanders, I would argue, is a part of the intellectual or the Talented 10th, period, because he's a builder of the black community. Look at the impact he's had on Jackson State in HBCUs. See, Deion Sanders can recruit other talented people in the same way that Booker T. Washington recruited talented blacks over to Tuskegee. Just like Deion Sanders recruits talented football players and talent to the program, so did Booker T. do with George Washington Carver. Brought him from Iowa State over to Tuskegee, Alabama, and he solved the boll weevil crisis, which created a lot of growth for the peanuts and many other different things in the South for many black farmers. He brought prosperity to the area. And this is the same thing that you've seen with Deion Sanders. He's bringing these talented black athletes that would not be there in the program, but they're there now. And Jackson State gets more notoriety. More people want to go to Jackson State. The memorabilia is selling. It's a positive surplus for the university, not only the university, but all SWAC schools. NFL scouts are coming out, right? It just brings a whole new presence to Jackson State that wasn't there before, because Deion Sanders is really a part of, my honest opinion, the talented 10th. I would embody him in the, kind of the entrepreneurial class, or just all around talented class. But what's happening now is that if Deion Sanders takes this job at the University of Colorado, people are going to be upset. And I want to read some of the comments of people already pissed off. Look at Home with Cara. Shaking my head. I need players at Jackson State mad as F. This other brother says, Dwayne, if he does, it's a big payday. 1.3 million every 3 years versus 3 million a year is a major difference. I hate it, but money talks. And then he says something here. This other brother goes, he did what most Black Americans do. Hype up Black people, go get paid. Y'all better catch up. Then this other person says something very similar. He says, I guess that other coach was right when he said he wasn't swag. Then you see other dissenting comments such as, what about those kids who left the bigger schools to come play for him at J-State? Shaking my damn head, very disappointed, but hey, must be the money. But I kind of want to talk about the effects of the brain drain, because Deion Sanders, if he goes to Jackson State, University of Colorado, it is the brain drain, right? And there's a particular video that talks about this and the effects of Black America that it has on others. I want you guys to watch this video, and then we'll come back.
When Blacks become successful, at times they take their business elsewhere. Do you think this has a causative effect on why Black entrepreneurship isn't?
It's got a terrible effect. The item, if you look at it like you do in an economics class, and you say, okay, here's a target population, what are the things affecting their low income and so low availability? One of them is that the Black population is not like other racial groups. The money comes in through, say, wages, okay, and then immediately goes out of the community to buy shoes, this, that, and the other thing. Now, that is not singly the only thing, because money, when it circulates, has a multiplier effect. The ratio of the direct money to the total economics is 1.67. What that means is that if we got a $3 billion economy, that with the multiplier effect, we would have a $5 billion economy. And so therefore, that's a drain on the urban area. The second drain is in housing. If the renters, there are more renters in the Black population than there are in any other population. Less than 47% own their homes. You say, well, that's interesting. But what it says is that there are hundreds of thousands of checks written every month, and they're not written to the community, because the people who own those houses that you rent in apartment buildings and the rest of them, they're taking all those funds. So there's a loss of funds for development within the community. The third thing, they drain our talent. Those who are able to escape the ghetto get a good education and immediately go to work for Boeing, IBM, Dell, whoever. That drains talent and brain power from that same market. So if you look at it as a market, we've got a lot of challenges. And so therefore the small business person's got a lot of challenges, because he's dealing with people that don't have the money and who won't conserve the money. So, the Black consumer therefore gets less for their money, because they should have double duty dollars as the other communities have. That is, you not only get the shoes that you need, but you also bolster your community. We get the shoes, but not the community.
I want to give a shout out to Raymond Haysbert, who, he summed this up perfectly. When we lose our best talented people to the outside world, or Africa loses its best people to the outside world, not the black community, we all suffer. But I kind of want to talk about this because I saw a lot of entitlement from a lot of African Americans who felt that Deion Sanders should just stay there and take less money. That's interesting. Do you stay at your job and take less money? And that's the problem in black America. We expect people to do for us the things that we won't do for the black community. Look at this lady, the Woman King, for example. Thought his whole point was to stay with HBCUs. Money shouldn't be a factor. He has money morals, should be, I don't know what that means. Help us, dear Lord, right? That's the same person at any given time, you know, would take some money to go somewhere else, even if it's outside the black community. Stay at Jackson State. Why go somewhere you aren't wanted? Keep changing these young men's lives. Shaking my head. We as black men have to stick by our youth. Leaving for what? More money? Yeah, it has a lot of comments, right? But the thing about it is, this is the problem. See, the black community has enough money to put the money together to keep Deion Sanders at a Jackson State, but we won't do it. See, that's the difference between us and other groups. Other groups believe in their people so much, they won't let their people leave their community. They will try to compensate them for that. We won't. We expect that our best and talented people should stick with us out of the love. They should do it for the community. They should suffer for the community. And I get it that, you know, it's great to have black builders in black America because we need to develop our people. But at the same time, people have to be compensated for their talents. And we have the ability to want to compensate people for our talents, but we don't want to pay. And then when other people decide they want to pay, now we have an issue with that. And that's the problem that we need to try to do. And I get it, you know, NCAA programs have more money. And obviously, University of Colorado used to be a pretty good school. They won a national championship, and you'll have a bigger radar. And $5 million a year is a lot of money. I get it, right? Who wants to pass up on that opportunity? Because they don't come around all the time. But the situation is this. How often are we going to sit around and expect black talent to produce for us when we don't want to compensate them for their worth? Just stay there and develop these young black men because it's good for the community, even though the same people who are doing it won't do it. And you'll take some money to go do something else. That's the ridiculous thing. We are always losing our best and talented blacks because we don't care about them. We won't compensate them. And talented blacks know that they're not going to get a lot of money with us. So they leave for greener pastures. And it's our job at the black community to try to keep our people in the community, but we don't. And nobody owes us anything. Even it'd be nice if they do, right? But Deion Sanders, in my opinion, he did a great job. And I'm happy to see him go to University of Colorado. It would be great if he could stay at Jackson State, but $5 million a year is a lot of money. And if we wanted him to stay at Jackson State, we would have rose the money, right? So obviously, we don't care that much. But guys, what do you think? It's your boy, O'Shea Duke Jackson, back at it again with another episode of Celebrity Drunk. Appreciate it. We're out.